It's fairly safe to say that the sale and the distribution of tickets for the upcoming Oasis tour in 2025 has been, for want of a better word, an absolute shambles. The handling of this event by Ticketmaster has been nothing short of scandalous, and this is coming from someone who did, for their sins, actually try and get tickets for the tour. Now, if it was up to my own devices, I probably wouldn't have bothered. However, my wife is a big Oasis fan and really wanted to get tickets for this particular event. So I, like millions of others, decided to brave the Ticketmaster website in an attempt to grab hold of a pair of these very, very in-demand tickets. My attempt started at just after 8 o'clock in the morning, and after going through various stages of queues, multiple site errors, being kicked out, being logged out, having to start again, being told I was a bot even though I was quite clearly not a bot, I did, after about 9 hours, at about 5 PM, reach the final part of the queue, the front of the queue, just about ready to go in there and see if there's any tickets left, scrabble about to see if there were any remaining seats. And then I got kicked out again and got put to the back of the queue. I then learned that there wasn't really any seats left anyway, so I'd kind of wasted all that time. Thankfully, I hadn't been sat there staring at my screen, but there were people who were there for hours and hours trying to buy these tickets, and they were ultimately going to fail. Because the handling of this by Ticketmaster has been nothing short of a shambles, nothing short of scandalous. There was so much media hype, so much mainstream and social media hype around this upcoming tour that it was always going to be massively in demand. However, with the exception of putting the Irish dates on sale an hour previous, all the tickets for all the venues and all the dates went on sale at the same time on the same website. Naturally, this led to the site being massively overloaded, unprecedented amounts of traffic that could easily have been foreseen by Ticketmaster had they just paid attention to the hype that they themselves had helped to create. Sorry to interrupt the video, just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who supports the channel. If you haven't done so already, then I do ask that you kindly click the subscribe button down below. 97% of people who watch these videos aren't currently subscribed, which is crazy, right? It's totally free. You can change your mind and there won't be any hard feelings if you choose to unsubscribe at a later date. If you do find these videos useful and you want to help me out, you can buy me a beer by clicking the link in the description below, and that also would be very much appreciated, particularly in this hot weather. Anyway, back to the video. However, they proceeded with this massively flawed plan of sticking them all on sale at the same time and then failed to respond effectively when the site simply wasn't able to cope. They were, however, very capable of responding when it turned out that demand was exceptionally high. Surprise, surprise. Now, I personally was quite shocked to find that the standing ticket for one of the dates at Wembley was £150. Now, I appreciate that ticket prices for gigs and tours have gone up in recent years. However, £150 for a standing ticket seemed really rather exceptional to me. I would, however, because I love my wife for my sins, would have paid £150 each for 2 tickets to go and see Oasis at Wembley. Then I would have had to pay about 10% in random admin and service charges to Ticketmaster, taking my £300 expenditure for just 2 people to stand at a gig to £330. But I could just about swallow that. I could just about swallow that if it hadn't maybe taken me 9 hours to get through the queue, being 190 plus thousandth in the queue from the time I actually finally joined it. And to join that very queue, I had to go through a queue simply to get on the site. I then had to go into a virtual lobby where I had to register my interest to these tickets. I then got moved to a virtual waiting room until eventually getting into the virtual queue in position 194 thousandths or whatever it was. So having accepted my fate of constantly checking my phone to see where I was in the queue for the vast majority of that Saturday, having accepted that I'd have to go pay through the nose for these overpriced, in my opinion, tickets to go and see a band that, were only at their peak about 25 years ago, I finally got to the front of the queue. And what happened when I got to position 1 in the queue? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking the tickets were sold out. Well, I will never know, because I got kicked out of the site and put back to the back of the queue. Thank you very, very much, Ticketmaster. Had I got through, however, that wouldn't have been the last disappointment of the day. Oasis themselves, or their promoters shall we say, had been very, very vocal about how they would not allow the reselling of tickets on third-party platforms. They'd openly stated that all tickets that people attempted to resell would be cancelled and that no refunds would be given. This is great news, because although I felt that the face value of the ticket was massively inflated compared to comparable concerts and comparable gigs, at least we knew what we were going to pay. Had I got through on that day, however, to the Ticketmaster site, I would have been quite shocked. The last remaining of the standing seats had instead been renamed in-demand standing tickets. Now, of course, standing is very much a free-for-all aside from a couple of corporate areas. So simply renaming them in-demand tickets is simply a way to circumnavigate their original ticket price and instead charge, I believe from memory, it was around £370 per ticket. More than double the original ticket price for effectively exactly the same thing. In addition to this, of course, they were offering special merchandise and VIP packages, which amounted to nothing more than the same standard ticket, but with a load of extra bits of merch thrown in for good measure, often marked up in excess of £400 or £500 a ticket. Now, given the high media profile of this particular tour, given the coverage it has received in the news, and the massive amount of conversation that has taken place around it on social media, I really hope that this internal ticket touting, this price scalping that Ticketmaster are undertaking, is addressed in an actual legal regulatory way. They were very vocal about how resale tickets were not going to be allowed. However, once they had discovered the true level of demand for the tickets, they then themselves inflated the original purchase price beyond what was the original ticket sale price. So why is demand for these tickets so high? I was an Oasis fan back in the 90s and early 2000s, but even I was a little bit sceptical about whether or not I would bother going to see them 20 years later. Well, I think it's fairly safe to say that a large number of the tickets were being scooped up by ticket touts, as happens with all major events, with a view to making quick profit. And yes, indeed, they appeared on sites such as Viagogo very, very shortly after they went on sale for as much as £6,000 or upwards. But I think also this is a symptom of the social media age. People, particularly younger people with a high social media profile and those with, dare I say, disposable income, want to be seen at the latest thing, want to be seen at the biggest gig. And that doesn't actually matter who that is. These people may have heard of Oasis, but they certainly probably weren't fans. However, they want to be seen at the event that everyone wants to be seen at. So this will, of course, massively increase demand. It also massively increase the price because, like I say, these are generally people with the vast majority of disposable income. And maybe pricing out those fans who are now in their late 30s, 40s, even 50s, who have a significantly higher number of financial commitments, such as mortgages and kids. And dare I say, the inundation of young people trying to get these tickets simply to be seen at the right gig at the right time will come with its own disadvantages. I can't imagine, had I decided to swallow my pride and pay over £400 each for a merchandise package basically just to get a standing ticket, I can't imagine my disdain for being surrounded by thousands of people all holding their phones in the air to record the entire concert to post on social media. Nobody cares about your video of the concert. The whole idea of concerts is to enjoy the moment, to enjoy the music, to enjoy the band in the moment and the experience as a whole. It's not to film it, which you'll never watch again, by the way, for posterity. It's not for taking photos just to show people you were there. It's to go and be surrounded by like-minded fans and enjoy the experience firsthand. But I'm not going to get that opportunity anyway, because I simply refuse to pay those sorts of extortionate prices for a ticket. And that's if I could actually afford it anyway. So something needs to be done. Ticketmaster need to be held to account not only for the technological failings when it came to managing the sale of these tickets, not only when it comes to the terrible idea of putting all the tickets for all the dates on sale at the same time, but also for their absolutely brazen and, dare I say, ruthless ticket touting, increasing the cost of standard tickets during the sale process simply because they acknowledged the massively high demand for said tickets. And all of this, of course, is ignoring the elephant in the room. This tour is not due to take place until next year. The reason there haven't been any Oasis tours, any Oasis gigs for the last 15 years is because the two brothers, Noel and Liam Gallagher, simply haven't been talking to each other. They fell out and it was quite widely known that they hated each other. They were very vocal on social media about disdain for one another. So how are we to believe that they're going to go through the preparation stages, including months and months of rehearsals, to get to the very first date without falling out again? It will simply be a miracle if they make the first date on this tour. And Ticketmaster, in their ever relentless way to screw over their customers, have decided to put in the small print that should the tour be cancelled for whatever reason, there will be no refunds given. So that's right. So if the ever volatile Gallagher brothers decide they're going to have a bit of a Barney between now and the first day on this tour next year, and decide that it's not going to go ahead, those people who queued up for 7, 8, 9 hours in a virtual queue on a faulty website to pay over the odds for fairly moderate seats or moderate tickets will simply not see a penny of their money back. Bear in mind, these people may also have booked transport, booked hotels, which again would have been massively overinflated due to the dynamic pricing model that we are seeing more and more and more. I think the demand, as well as that from young people and that of ticket touts, I think there will be a demand, in all seriousness, from people of my age and from people who remember Oasis the first time around, and I think that's because of an element of nostalgia. I think the music of Oasis and other bands such as Blur, Pulp, Cast and all the rest of them that were around at the time will take us back to a time pre-political correctness, before wokeism, before the complete destruction of the culture of Great Britain. It takes us back to a happier time where we were proud to be British and we were exporting amazing music all around the world, whilst embracing this music that brought us all together in one place to enjoy it in the moment and first hand. For that reason, I think that anyone who is a true Oasis fan, anyone who is nostalgic about not only the band, not only the music, but the times that it reminds us of, would be disappointed, even if we did get tickets, and even if the gigs did go ahead. And dare I say, that is a massive, massive if. Stay safe, everybody, and whatever you do, don't look back in anger.